To all Kevin's friends that thought this was supposed to be live, I apologize. I'm too fucking old to be live anymore, Kevin's friends. So I hope you find this, and I hope this podcast finds you well. My name is Steve. That, of course, is the urban sensation C-Red, and we are the Power Hour. Cactus Rack and PX, the Vicious, will be joining us later. Maybe Rion will be here. Maybe Rion won't be here. Rion is like the Wiz. You never know what's going to happen. He's out there following the yellow brick road.
You can't win.
Oh, that's
No better.
I already love that I accepted to be on here. This is great.
well, as you should. And our guest tonight, of course, is the illustrious official referee grande, the one, the only, Kevin motherfucking Woods. Hello, Kevin.
What's up, Steve? How we doing?
Oh, I don't know. We're doing on a Tuesday night. You and I, we have known each other and worked together for quite a few years. You were a referee at CSW. You had just started out when I took over as general manager in 2020, as far as, being a ref under the tutelage of the illustrious Ref Turtle, who hung up his shell, dropped his stripes, and left you holding the motherfucking bag.
Mm-hmm.
So is it true? Now, I'm not general manager anymore, so I don't know the hierarchy of the officiating staff, but you and Ref Dev certainly have seniority, but you have been trained at CSW. I believe that makes you the CSW head official, correct?
Yes, technically, I am the CSW head official officially when Turtle, as you mentioned, hanged up the shell, as you like to put it. It was at the end of last year. So technically January of this year, I officially took over the mantle, and I've had the responsibility of keeping our referee lineup in check and making sure that we have guys for the show. Most recently, we've had TJ Bowles and Derek Martha as our other two main referees. So it's them two and myself as the main guys that have been running the ship so far.
Yeah, and Turtle just kind of left you high and dry. One day he's reffing, next thing you know, he's taking off his shirt, leaving it in the ring.
Well, doing that
boots.
During that show, when it happened, he had talked to me before the show had started, because he had been hemming and hawing about it for a few months before that, about, I've been thinking about doing this. I've been hemming and hawing about it. And he officially came to the conclusion, like, this is what I want to do. I want to hang it up while I'm on top, so to speak, and give it some sort of a farewell. So when that show was happening, he came up to me and told me, he's like, yeah, tonight's going to be my last night. So it was a little bittersweet because, I get to be the head official, but at the same time, I get to lose. I don't get to lose is a good word, but I lost a mentor, so to speak, in a referee position, because him and I go back to when I first started out in January of 2018. He was the ref at CSW, and he taught me a few things. Him and I had a feud in another promotion. And
we remember the glory days of GPW, don't we?
We do remember the glory days of GPW, and him and I had the best feud ever. I don't care what anybody says. And we were supposed to have a match. We were aiming towards having one, and it just never came to be. So we still joke about it to this day about, one day we're going to have our match. And he jokes about, one day I'm going to kick your ass. Like, yeah, okay, let's see.
I feel like I'd like to see Turtle, who has gotten to be quite the wrestler these days. He's out and about doing his Turtle things, but boy, that would be pretty fun about Kevin Woods versus Turtle in a winner take all match or some such thing.
So winner gets the CSW official, has a senior official title.
Since you've been that official, you have had the good fortune, bad fortune to work with the son of a bitch known as TJ Steele as general manager, who undermines your authority on the regular. When I was general manager, the officials were my friends. We worked together. We were a team. With TJ Steele as the general manager, that's not the case, right?
No. He sends me my paycheck, so I'll say this. He pays my paycheck, and that's all I'll say. Yeah. But I will forever. I don't care what he has to say. You, Mr. Steve, will always be Mr. GM to me.
Oh, now see,
Whatever my word means to you, you will be forever Mr. G. That's how I always say hello to
yeah,
you.
he always
That
says,
is
"Hey,
how I
Mr.
will
Yeah.
always say hello to you. You are Mr. G. End of discussion.
Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. I love my time as general manager at CSW. Now, Red, you have to picture this. You know the brass, right? It's Eric Schultz and Jax Johnson and Iniesta.
Iniestra.
Deal. I
You
want
mean the ass?
yes, I want you to picture in your head the band Color Me Bad and their video for All for Love. And the last time they went out and were a group in the ring, I thought they were going to bust out into I Adore Me More. That is how all for one they are, bro. Picture that in your head.
Shut up, because you got this shit in my head, like for real now. And all, but ain't none of them got no fucking rhythm.
No, they ain't got no rhythm, but TJ Steele is the spitting image with his haircut right now of that fucking lead singer. And I want that to be their entrance. I'm going to fuck around one of these days, and I'm going to tell Brandon, hey, when the brass come out, play All for Love by Color Me Bad, because I want that shit to happen.
I
Oh, you're very musical tonight. I should wake you out of a sound sleep more often.
You should. You really should.
You, Kevin Woods, this has been a really strong period of time at CSW with the talent coming in, and you have worked with some of the biggest stars in the business. EC3, Jacob Fatu, Gringo Loco, Warhorse. Let's talk about the surprise guests of a few shows ago, Kyle Fletcher and
Will.
the man that we can't name for contractual reasons. And Will
Okay.
Ospreay. We'll name him anyway.
Will Ospreay.
I was gonna say Bill Ospreay, but
Did he steal your ref shirt to wear?
No, I want to take full credit for that. I gave him that rep shirt. That was that was my spare rep shirt. He came up to me and I was told like, hey, I'm gonna be the special guest referee for this match. And I'm like, and the first thing I was like, do you need a shirt? And he goes, I would love one, bruv. And I'm like, I got you. I went so quick to my suitcase. I got my spare shirt. I'm like, try this on for size, fit him perfectly. And it all happened just like that.
And the
This
rest
was like 2 matches before everything happened.
It was absolute chaos that night. We're still not allowed to show the footage. That's how hot it was. But
yes,
how cool is it being a wrestling fan in your own right to be loaning your shirt to one of the biggest stars in professional wrestling on this planet right now?
Honestly, when he walked out there and he got in there and he pulled out the shirt and he got in there, I literally had that moment of like, what is happening right now? Will Ospreay, who is one of, if not the best in the world currently in this sport,
no doubt,
is wearing my shirt at CSW. You told me that when I started out in 2018, I'm like, you are high and you're nuts. And it's like, I've had a few of those moments, honestly, like this year, looking back on it, like this year, like one other one comes to mind is Speedball Mike Bailey. That was another guy that has come through CSW that I got the fortunate opportunity to referee with Conan Lycan. And literally in that match, like 2 minutes in, I'm in there like watching them do their thing. And I said to myself, I'm in a match with Speedball Mike Bailey right now. And it's like, how did I earn the opportunity to get here? That's what was crazy to me. And through this year of doing a few extra work opportunities with TNA, working a few times with the NWA and NWA Chicago, and working with people, like you said, like Warhorse, like Speedball, like EC3, like Tommy Dreamer in the past, like me as a fan growing up and telling myself that as a high schooler that, hey, one day you're going to referee all these guys that you love and adore as a fan in high school and before, I would have never believed you. Like this year, this last 12 months really has been absolutely surreal to me and a dream come true, but the dream has only started.
I mean, you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't love wrestling.
Yeah.
for me later this year, I get the opportunity of a lifetime at Frontline Pro Wrestling at their event Freedom Cup in November. I get to do a 30-minute in-ring sit-down interview with Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle.
Really? I did not know that.
Why? I mean, I after that, I have to retire, because what is going to happen to me that is ever going to mean more than Kurt Angle sitting across from me and me getting to ask him any question I want? Just it's these moments that and Red can go through a virtual list of people he's met in this industry. Red, who is the most powerful celebrity wrestler that you ever met? Obviously, Kevin's talking, about some of the ones we've just met. I mean, Will Ospreay wearing his fucking shirt is fucking amazing. And then he took, what is it? Was it Jax or Eddie? It was Eddie Grayson's shirt, and he wore it on fucking Dynamite.
Yeah, I believe it was Collision, because they had Collision the next night, and then they had the Dynasty pay-per-view on Sunday in St. Louis.
Who marked you out? Because it would be impossible for Kevin Woods not to mark out to Will Ospreay at least a little bit.
So you said celebrity, and then you said wrestler.
I'm sorry. I meant
one and the same.
No.
Well, listen, if you met Bobby Brown, that's not what I want to talk about here.
No.
At a wrestling
little
show.
step I take. Anyway, so if you're saying celebrity, it's got to be the boss, Billy Corgan.
Billy's been very nice.
The very first time working at Resistance and not knowing Billy was the head of creative. And here we are, we're just coming in for an appearance, and it's like fucking Billy Corgan. And it was like, oh my fucking God, and it was like we just met him, and I think a bigger impression would be we weren't brought back for a while. The Soul Touchers weren't brought back for a while. Then I went back on commentary. And then they decided to bring us back and to have a sit-down meeting and it was just me, Jazz, and Marche. And he was, we're thinking we're going to be heels because that's what they brought us in for. And Billy's like, oh, no, guys, you guys are too over. You guys are faces. End of discussion. And it was just like, okay, all right, boss, whatever you want. Now, wrestler-wise, because I've met a few. But I gotta say, for me, Ron Simmons.
I remember that crash tested joke. It was a good dude.
No, it wasn't crash tested. It was Dreamwave.
Oh, Dreamwave. But he was at Crash Tested too.
He was at Crash Tested, but it was Dreamwave, and I wasn't on the show. And it's on YouTube. They wanted to do a poker segment, like the APA with Marche, and some other guys, but nobody had playing cards. Nobody had any kind of, poker paraphernalia. So I told them, give me 5 minutes. And I drove to the nearest Dollar General or whatever and got not only a pack of cards, but they had a poker set and spent my own legit money. Like, all right, we're going to do this. Like, that idea is great. Let's roll with it. Here we go. And to watch it every so often and know, like, right where the camera was, that's where I was standing the whole time. And just knowing that he was the first African-American heavyweight champion, and I got to tell him thank you, but then he's got to see some of my work, and he was like, he liked what I do, and it was like, oh shit, like I'm nobody. Like, you're the man, you're the one with the Hall of Fame ring. I'm just a guy.
He just looked at you and said, damn.
He did more or less. No, that would have been a few other people. He said, "There, watch
Yeah.
the video." So
Look, if I could tell a quick story, you brought up the point
That's
about
why the
marking
fuck
out
you're
for
here,
wrestling.
Kevin.
Yeah, okay. So you brought up the point about who have you marked out for wrestlers, and you brought up Marche. The very first show I ever did in the wrestling business, it was for CSW. It was the very first show I ever wrestled in, ever did ever. It was February of 2018. I'm month and a half in a training, and they throw me in the Futures Battle Royal to get some reps in. And I go down to the locker room, and who do I see first right there that I recognize? Marche, because Marche was on TNA some years ago before that in the X Division. So I remember seeing him on TV. That was the very first guy that I saw. And I'm like, oh my God, I know who that is. That's Marche Rocket. And I walk up to him and I completely log up. I'm like, hi, Marche. My name's Kevin. Like, I've seen you on TNA. Like, I'm a big fan, blah, 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 blah. And he just looks at me and goes, thanks, kid. Just goes, that's a, and I think about to this day, I wonder if he remembers that. But I remember it and looking back, I'm like, God, why did I do that?
Now I'm going to ask him next time he's on the show. Hey, remember when Kevin Woods marked out TNA team? Because he'll remember that shit. Mark
Hey.
didn't forget shit.
ask him Friday.
I will ask him now. I've always wanted to ask him again. I've always been kind of nervous to bring it up to him. But I'm now curious if he does remember that.
Marche, it's so many things have happened to that man on his career trajectory since that chance encounter in 2018. He has become very much a teacher of this sport and a coach. So the reaction then and the reactions now are very different. Not because he knows you more now, but he's just one of those guys that is like he wants to impart his wisdom. And even when people mark out to who he is, he's like, well, let's talk about your match. He's all business, but for all the right reasons, which is why we love Marche. That's why everybody loves Marche. I've never met anybody that has had a negative word to say about Marche Rocket ever.
No, I couldn't think of anything negative
Get
to
the
say
fuck
about
out of
Marche.
here. Why you raise your hand? I'm talking out of character, but I'm not talking when you're trying to kill him at Crash Tested.
Oh, okay. All right.
God.
To your point about Marche, about teaching, like not just the wrestlers, to me included and everybody else. The few times that I have gone to NWA and he's been there, he has took me aside and to me some pointers like, hey, when you go up to people, introduce yourself and say this. And like when he goes to meeting new people, get them information, send them your stuff. Like all these little things that, I don't even think about, or people don't even think about networking and making connections and making relationships in this business. He goes out of his way to teach me and everyone else that's there that's willing to listen. Like that's the kind of guy he is. I couldn't think of anything negative to say about Marche at all.
Last week or a few weeks ago on this show, was it last week? Was Paulie last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paulie was last week. We learned about the ABS of pro wrestling, always be selling. So, but Marche, whether he be coaching or instructing, he's an ABS guy. He's always selling at some point, which I think is pretty cool. Now, let's talk about Kevin Woods before we start getting into the refereeing. Let's talk about Kevin Woods, the wrestler. Let's talk about.
Do we have to?
We are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about although it was short, it was still very memorable. The original Proving Grounds. You were quite the bad guy. You were quite the heel at Proving Grounds.
What can I say? I'm a heel by nature.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, you had quite the collection of misfits in the Proving Grounds. I mean, Proving Grounds is the first time I ever met Joey Mayberry. And they brought Joey in to do commentary because what would happen is you guys would tape the footage and then we would go to Axel's apartment and we would sit at his computer and we would do commentary. So it was me, it was Axel, it was Coda Holiday, and it was Joey Mayberry. And the first time I sat down to do commentary with Joey Mayberry, it was one of the most fun yet awkward situations of my life because I had never worked with LBGQT performers before other than Mateo at a few shows. and Joey is incredibly flamboyant. You never question what Joey's intentions are when he's in character, and he blew my fucking mind. I would not have gotten through the roller derby with the drag queen if I hadn't worked with Joey Mayberry first.
Yeah.
He opened my eyes to how to maintain a professionalism while you're being blown away by somebody's persona and you can't react to it. So
No, I've had so many encounters with refereeing some of his matches. The things he says in there, just off the cuff, and just the way that he just moves and talks to people and to his opponent, and the things that he just spoils out. And I have to do everything in my power as I'm refereeing the match to not just laugh and be like, "Did you just say that?" Like Joey Mayberry is. I treasure every second I'm with Joey Mayberry. He makes me laugh. He's awesome. I love any time I get to work with Joey Mayberry.
Of all the people in this business, he might be the most unique character I have ever had the pleasure of working with. Yeah.
And the things like I was gonna say, like the things that he says, like it's so off the cuff, but it works. It rhymes. It sounds like stuff that he's thought about for months. Like, oh, that would be a good line. I just gotta wait for my moment. And it's so off the cuff. And I've asked him before, like, do you ever like think about the stuff? Nope, kind of just off the cuff. What am I feeling? And like, that's a talent, dude. Like, I don't know how you do it.
He's a terrific improvisationalist. He can
very phenomenal.
So Proving Grounds was run by Axel Rico's father, Francisco. If memory serves, didn't you beat him up? Didn't you beat down Francisco Rico?
Listen, you know, in the wrestling business, you go through times in your past where you're just like, I kind of regret doing that. I did it, but I kind of regret doing that. You know, it was a different time. I was a wrestler. I was full on, and you know what? I just didn't care what people think, so I did it. Sorry, but he's alive, and we still talk, so we're good. We're good.
Francisco Rico is a good friend of mine. You know, we grew up together back in the neighborhood, if you can believe that. Not many do, but me and Francisco are about the same age. I remember Axel when he was a young pup. So I took exception on commentary when you beat up poor Francisco, who is just trying to run an organization.
He should have run it better. Sorry.
Should have run it better. And you had, I mean, you had Mario Pardua, who is now of NWA, was part of Proving Grounds. You had, of course, Eric Schultz, who is part of the brass now, was a big player. And then even AEW superstar Sky Blue had matches at Proving Grounds.
Yes, she did. You know, I remember when Sky originally came to the CSW school, and when she did come into Proving Grounds to do matches, and you know, I didn't think of her as a girl. I didn't think like she was another one of the wrestlers. She kicked ass, and she was really good at it, and it was an honor to ref the matches there at Proving Ground, not at Proving Grounds, but like in CSW and in other places, and seeing her rise to the stardom that she has over this last few years of being signed officially to AEW and working on pay-per-views and having championship opportunities and working with some really big names. Like, it's really cool to say, like, yeah, I've left Sky Blue matches, you know, that's not an AEW. Like that's kind of cool to me, you know?
Yeah, she certainly has been very giving of her time to CSW even after her star became on the rise. But Proving Grounds was a special time. What did you get out of it? Because I've asked this question to other Proving Grounds people. I've asked Turtle. I've asked Axel. What did you get out of the Proving Grounds episodic television show on YouTube?
I think what I got out of it was the improvisation that was needed. There was I never like to say that I'm good at being good at improv when it comes to doing things off the cuff. Like, okay, we need to do a 180 complete turn. Now we need to do this. Like, okay, now we need to do this. I feel like there was a lot of that, and there was a lot of creative ideas that everybody pitched into, and we went in this direction, then we went in that direction, and it was a lot of just having to adjust on the fly, which I was never really accustomed to, especially before wrestling. Came basically just playing baseball all year round for 10 years. So it's just This is what I got to do, straight to the point, and not having to really move my way around or anything. This is just the way I'm going. So for being there and Proving Grounds and having to do that, I think it really helped me with how I am now with even being a referee of like, hey, the match is going well. Oh my God, someone is legitimately hurt. I need to complete switch on the fly and make sure like, okay, I need to be almost EMT like of like, you need help. I need to make sure that you're safe. Don't further hurt yourself. I think that's really the most important thing I got out of it, among other things. But I think improvisation and being able to work off the cuff more.
Proving Grounds gone too soon. It was a lot of fun to do and very entertaining shows it made on the YouTube for sure. So,
but I will say I don't mean to interrupt you, but that entity of Proving Grounds may have ended, but the current entity of Proving Grounds Chicago, is a professional wrestling company that's being run by Axel Rico, and it's a cosplay show that he's been using. We've been traveling around. We've been up to Minnesota. We're up in Green Bay on July 20th, if I'm not mistaken. We've done shows around here, so we're going to bigger cosplay conventions for the weekend, and we're doing shows in front of like hundreds, if not almost thousands of fans that are just cosplayers that like a good show or like professional wrestling, and they're loud. I'll say that. So the original entity of Proving Grounds that you have talked about, that may be gone, maybe for now, but the current Proving Grounds Chicago, that's thriving. And if you don't know it, you should take a look at it.
Proving Grounds Chicago, the next generation of the Proving Grounds series, and anything that Axel Rico touches is gold anyway. So
very true.
Before we move on to the next topic, let's welcome in our favorite knockout. It is, well, are we going to call you Russian Blue tonight? Are we going to call you Cactus Rack? What are we calling you tonight?
You can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
And we will call, my favorite name is Cactus Rack. That's when I fell in love with her. So welcome to the show, our favorite knockout. It is the lovely Cactus Rack. Hello, Cactus.
Hello, and my apologies for being a little late. I was literally pulling into my driveway at 6:30 and had to eat and give the dogs the affection they missed all day.
I understand, but you gotta start yourself off the way you always do. Give me a hey girl, hey.
Well,
Hey,
Pat's
girl,
not
hey.
here. Hey girl, hey.
There we go.
Hey, girl, hey.
That's it.
Hey
That's
girl,
it.
hey.
I'm glad you're here. Come and go as you need to. I know you got things to do there. We're talking to Kevin, so say hello to Kevin.
Hello, Kevin.
What's up?
Kevin, in his Proving Ground Chicago bit, they're doing some wrestling at cosplay shows. How cool would that be, do you think?
Andrew did that in Wisconsin. I thought it was a really good combination of things. I think that's like great minds think alike. Like that's two very creative outlets that they need to be combined more, I think.
We are going to check out Proving Ground Chicago in July. That's going to be very fun.
In July.
What did you say? It was July 20th, Kevin?
Yes, July 20th.
So there you go, Cactus. We got a date. We got to go. Where is it? Kevin, it's in Wisconsin, did you say, or Michigan?
It's in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. No longer the home of Mr. Kennedy, but he still says it. That's okay.
No, that's
Kevin,
another
right
guy
now,
that have had the fortunate opportunity to work with, Mr.
Right
Kennedy.
now, Kevin's face is frozen, but I'm hoping it unfreezes. It's very mugshot looking right now.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Let me see if I can try to fix it.
Kevin Thug. Oh,
there we
go. Blow that up, boy.
There we go.
Attaboy.
Sorry, I don't know why I did that.
Let's shift over to NWA Chicago, and let's talk about your travels to Knoxville in the Big Territory show. Tell me how that was. How was NWA Chicago welcomed into the center point of all the territories?
As far as I'm aware, a lot of it has just been the NWA expanding. They've been killing it this last 12 months ish, and a little bit more than that, maybe 16 months. They have the CW deal, they're in the CW app, they're signing big names, and they're killing it with merch sales and ticket sales, and it's just a way of expanding. And I was reached out for an opportunity originally by Daisy Kill to say, hey, we're having a NWA Chicago territory show. I want you to be one of the refs. Are you interested? I'm like, absolutely. So, and it went on from there. That was the very first time I got to referee EC3 and officially hold up the 10 pounds of gold, the NWA Heavyweight Championship, and ref that match. And that moment for me, that was another moment of like, I'm holding up the 10 pounds of gold.
You had the biggest smile on your face when you held that belt.
Yeah, admittedly I did, because how can you not, if you're a student of the game, which I tried to make myself one, the history of that title alone, like if you think of current guys like EC3 with it, Cody Rhodes, Nick Aldis, and guys in the past like Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, and it's like, I'm holding this championship that has an 80-year legacy with 100 plus, if not more, Hall of Famers that have held it or have tried to hold it. Like, that's insane to me that I could at least be a tiny, tiny, tiny part of that championship's history. That's I don't know what else I could do after that.
That was a pretty cool moment. Now, how did you get selected to be a part of the Territory show in Knoxville? How did that come about?
You know, funny enough, I actually wasn't. It was one of those opportunities that I had talked to Daisy Kill about. Hey, what could I do to be on NWA more regularly, more permanently, of some sorts? And he essentially told me of like, if you want it, you gotta come, you gotta travel, and you gotta show them that you want it. And the next closest thing to me that I can make was Knoxville, Tennessee. So I drove 9 hours down to Knoxville, Tennessee, got there at like midnight after I had worked that day on that Friday, got to my hotel, went to the show on Saturday, and did everything I could to help set up, do whatever they need me to do, helped run photo shoots and video segments, and I helped run merch during the physical show, and I helped drive guys home to their hotels after the show, and I drove home on Sunday for 9 hours again. And it was one of those things of, I knew I wasn't going to get paid. I knew I wasn't going to make money back. I knew I of all those things, I knew that wasn't going to happen. And I didn't care. That's not the point. The point of it was to show them that I give a shit, and I want to make this dream a reality. I want to do what I need to do to be there. I did my best to talk with their referees and get insight and get advice. Like, hey, I do this. What about this? Could this work? What do you do that works? I sent them my stuff and sent them clips and videos of mine to have them review. And that right there was just a victory for me. So I got in contact with some of their referees, like, and got them to look at my stuff. I'll take that victory any day of the week. And so for me, going down to Knoxville, Tennessee was a huge success in more ways than one.
You can't really always quantify the wrestling experience with how much you're being paid.
No.
Opportunities sometimes come disguised as other things. And I've always been a strong follower of the axiom that was set forth by a famous Englishman many years ago. You never know who may be listening to you or watching, for that matter.
Yes.
So, it's good to show up and show out. And, like I said, I think Daisy's right on the money. If they believe you want it, that's going to make them motivated. I mean, look at C Red. He's NWA for life now. We can't turn on NWA without seeing C Red.
I know.
I think we gotta call it CWA.
Stop.
You know, on your point though, Steve, about that, I remember some time ago I was listening to an interview with Bubba Ray Dudley, Bully Ray, whatever you want to call him, and he brought up the point about, at least from a wrestler's point of view, and I try to keep that point of view as well, about the first, on an average span, on the first 10 years of a wrestler or anyone in this business career, you're gonna eat nothing but shit, and you got to learn to like it, because you got to build those connections, you got to pay your dues, you got to travel, you got to do all this stuff. And if you don't like it, then this is not for you. So I understand, in this point in time in my career of trying to make this dream a reality, I know I'm not going to make my money back. I know basically anywhere that I go, I'm losing money, so to speak, with gas and paying for hotels and stuff like that. But I don't really care, because I truly love this. I love every second that I'm a part of this, being here, being at shows, watching wrestling on TV, and studying. Like it's hard for me to be a fan and watch it, if that makes sense. I study the shit out of this stuff, and you ask any of my friends, any of my family, I'm talking everything about it because I'm trying to make myself better. One referee that I study more than anybody is Mike Chioda, and he's having a seminar um later in a few weeks, I believe, or maybe it's next week actually. I'm not able to go to it, but I'm doing everything in my power to go to his next one, which I believe is late September, early October. That's the guy that I try to emulate the most. And I try to tell myself that it sounds corny, I know, but I I don't want to be the next Mike Chioda. I don't want to be this generation's Chioda. I want to be this generation's Kevin Woods, if that makes sense. I want to be just like him, but I want to take it to the next step, take it to the next level, if that's even possible.
I totally get that. The Jim Ross comparisons inherently always come up to me. Matter of fact, Marche calls me his personal JR. That's a compliment. I mean, I love it because JR was always my favorite commentary, host. I had a chance to interview him back in my school days. He is extraordinary, but I don't want to be known as a knockoff of JR. I want to be myself, and I
Yeah.
try to do things my way, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't
Yeah.
work. But I totally
Yeah.
get your point. You want to have the respect you've earned in this business, and you want to set the name for yourself that Kevin Woods means something. And I think that is
Yeah.
absolutely the way you should feel about it, because you're one of the best one of the best referees working right now. And I work with a bunch of them, and you are always right where you need to be when you need to be. And, you're very smooth. And, I've read, you ever notice that some referees are kind of clunky, but there are a few referees that are very smooth that you don't know they're there until they have to be there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like I said, I tried my best to be the student of the game, and that's not just people on TV. That's in other shows and watching like how they do things. I do my best. Like I study my Kyoto, John Finnegan, Earl Hebner, Brian Hebner, current guys and girls for that matter, and just seeing things that they do. I'm not a big fan of that, but I like that. Maybe I can turn into that. Like I take inspirations from Kyoto. Like that, I do this all the time when I count to two. That is mainly from Kyoto because he always did this. That's the one big thing I very much took from Kyoto, admittedly, but I do everything I can to do what's comfortable to me, what works best for me, while also taking inspirations from my heroes in this wrestling business, even wrestlers. When it comes to wrestlers like Bubba Ray that I mentioned before, Taz. I love studying Taz, and when he was running his podcast and talking about psychology and behind the scenes things and everything that goes on in this business that people don't even realize, hearing those things, that's what I always try to find, is the things that people aren't looking at, aren't thinking about. That's what sets you just one step further than the next guy, if they're not looking at the things that they shouldn't be looking at or don't even know to be looking at.
So what got you here? Red and I ask this question often because we've heard many answers over all the shows we've done together. What got you into wrestling? And we've even had Rachel. Rachel's asked that question quite a few times. I'm sorry, Cactus Rack has asked that question quite a few times. What got you here? What brought you to the dance?
Ooh, that's a
What was that
well,
moment you're like, fuck, I'm gonna be? You said you played baseball for a long time. I remember your gimmick at Proving Grounds was a baseball player. So how did you go from baseball to wrestling? What was the pop?
well, it's a little bit of a long story. For me, being an MLB player, a professional baseball player, that was the first dream. That was the first thing that I wanted to do ever since I was 9 years old. When I first discovered baseball from my friend, my lifelong friend, Christian. I went to one of his games randomly as a 9-year-old kid. I'm like, this is awesome. How could I play this? And so the next year I started playing and I never looked back. And that was the only goal. Every spring, summer, and fall here, because you can't play in the winter here, unfortunately, it was just baseball. That's it. There was other sports I did, but it was just baseball. And that was the only goal. Get drafted, work through the minors, make it to the bigs, do everything I can. That was it. And it got to a point where at the end of high school, I realized I don't know how far I can really take this. I'm on the bench. I'm busting my ass and I'm not really getting opportunities, whether it was right or wrong. I didn't get much opportunities. And when I did, I put so much pressure on myself to do it, to be good, so I can prove myself that I'm good enough. And it just didn't work out. I played 1 year of collegiate baseball at COD, College of DuPage. And after that, I had the realization of this is just not working. I'm not doing well in school. I'm not happy right now. This is a chore. This is not fun anymore. So I decided to leave it behind. And that, to this day, that's still one of the hardest things I ever had to go through, because that was it. There was no plan B. That was it. And for me to have let that go, it was very hard. And for a few more months, I was just going through school, and I had always been a fan of professional wrestling. When I was 9 years old, I discovered baseball. When I was 11 years old, just about to turn 12, I discovered TNA wrestling. That was the very first thing I ever discovered. The very first thing. TNA was the very first thing I ever saw. I had no idea what WWE was for a few weeks. For like 2-3 weeks. Because this was right at the end of July, like last few days of July. The very first thing I ever saw was Bobby Lashley's debut in the Impact Zone. He came out like, and Mike Tenay and Don West are putting him over as he's with the Main Event Mafia. They're unstoppable. They're about to beat the hell out of Mick Foley. He turns around, turns on them, and the crowd's going absolutely nuts. And Mike Tenay is screaming, and Don West is screaming, and Samoa Joe's yelling, man, I can see it all in my head. And when I go back and watch that clip, it honestly gives me goosebumps, because that was the moment that got me into it. And then about 2-3 weeks later, whenever it was, the school year started. It was my 6th grade school year. And one of my old friends, his name's Tony, he was really into professional wrestling. And I'm telling him about this, and he's like, you mean WWE, right? I'm like, what's that? What? And he puts me on this whole thing of John Cena, Batista, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, blah, blah, blah. And that's what got me into watching Raw and SmackDown and so forth and so forth. So from then on, I always was a fan of it. And I just kept watching and watching. And as the years went on, realizing the real life stories of some of these guys and girls, of how they got there, and their real life stories and their upbringing, and just slowly and slowly of how the industry worked, so to speak. Obviously, I had no idea because I'd never been in it. But it got to a point when I finished my baseball career, and I was just working and going to school, and I hated every second of it. I looked to one of my lifelong friends, Kevin, and I looked at him, and I had been thinking about this for a few weeks. I'm like, maybe I should try this wrestling thing. I got nothing else to do. It's something I've loved. Maybe I should try it. And I looked at him, and I go, just completely out of the blue, we're studying for whatever class we were studying for. And I look at him and I go, Kevin, what do you think I tried professional wrestling now? And it was like a movie. He just slowly looked to me and he goes, that would be the coolest fucking thing ever. And from then on, I looked up wrestling schools. The first one I found was Hornswoggle School up in Wisconsin. I'm like, that's a little too far from me. And I found a few others. And like the next day, I saw a random promo video for CSW at the Edison Park Inn on January 18th, 2018. I messaged the school or the Facebook page and Boz, because his name was on the profile. And I messaged him. He's like, yeah, come out and we'll talk after the show. Went to the show, talked to him after the show. 2 days later, I was at the school training. And
Boz doesn't play. When the boss has a client book, he's gonna bring in, he's gonna reel you in like a fisherman.
Oh yeah, it was I look back on that, and it makes me laugh, because I was still living at home at the time, and I lied to my mother that, like, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, and I was going to the CSW show, because she's one of those people that I'm her little boy. Me doing anything of any sort of physical labor, oh, she can't handle. I'm gonna break. She can't handle. She's one of those mothers. And so I lied to her about going to the show, and then I told her the next day, like, I went to a show, and I'm actually going to start training tomorrow. Oh, she let me have it, but but I did it anyway, and here we are now. you know, I started off as a wrestler. I tried to be a wrestler, as everyone typically tries to be when they get in this business, because they want to be the champion, they want to have the glamour, the fame, the money, that the drug adrenaline of having the crowd just make endless amount of noise in front of you. You can attest that being the closest thing to doing a drug to not doing drugs. And
Yeah, I wish we could bottle that shit.
oh God, man, we could make so much money off of that. And for the first year and a half, it was just constantly wrestling and refereeing. It was splitting my time because I liked refereeing, and admittedly, the first few months I was too scared to do practice matches because I was afraid I wasn't going to do well. So I'll just ref it, and so I refed it. And about a month or so in, a guy by the name of Jack Shatter pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, you're pretty good at reffing. Have you ever worked a show?" I'm like, "No." "Well, I got a show over in Rockford called Project Forest City Wrestling, and we need another ref. We only got one guy. Do you want to do it?" I'm like, "I've never worked a show for reffing, but sure." And that's how I got the reffing start. And then in July of 2019, I got to a point in this business where I got really, really burnt out. I was working full time. I was doing this full time. My body was killing me. I was not ready to do the physical labor and mental intensity that it took to be in this business as a wrestler. And this is not for me. And I left. I took a 6-month break. I tried my best to get away from it. I didn't watch it. I didn't talk to anybody. I got burnt out. This is not funny. But once you're in the business, there's always that little drawback. There's always that little pinch of like, yeah, come back.
Is that true, Red? Is there always that little pinch that you got to come back?
There's always that little tug back into the wrestling business when you leave it.
Red, you could speak on that, right?
Kevin's talking.
And I went to a few shows at the end of the year, and I talked to Boz again, and I'm like, I want to come back. This is like January of 2020, but I just want to ref. For the time being, I just want to ref. Maybe I'll go back to wrestling, but I just want to ref. It's easy on my body. I love doing that. I'll just ref. It's like, okay, that's fine. Just let me know. I'm like, all right. And did shows for January and February, and then the pandemic happened.
Oh, don't I remember? I was your pandemic GM, my friend.
Yes, you were. And once things started coming back up again, it was basically just CSW and Northland Pro Wrestling. Those are really the only two things I was doing. I wasn't really doing anything else. I never had the thought of, I'll make this dream a reality. It was kind of just something I enjoyed doing. And it got to a point where I don't want to work a regular job the rest of my life. I want to try to do something more, something different. And one day, Sky Blue came back to the school to train with us and just roll around and, just work with us for a little bit. And I talked with her after the practice that day. This was January of 2023, so about a year and a half ago. And I was telling her, I'm like, how are the referees in AEW? What are they like? Like, how does it really work behind the scenes? Like, preparing for a show and doing stuff in front of those live crowds and traveling. Like, what's it really like behind the scenes that nobody really knows about? And she told me this and told me that. And I asked her, what do I have to do to get there? What can I do to be where Paul Turner, Aubrey Edwards, for example, what can I do to be on that level, WWE level? And she goes, you need to work. You need to go to as many big places as you possibly can. You need to work on your craft. You need to get better every single day. You need to prove your worth to not only yourself, but to everyone around you, because you could be, quote unquote, the best referee or best anything anywhere. But if people don't see you for it, then you're not going to go anywhere. So she said, do what you can to get on AAW, Warrior Wrestling, Dreamwave, as many big type of shows around here that you can get your hands on and work on. You got to do it. And from then on, it was like a switch. I'm like, all right, time to go to work. And since then, I have worked many shows now for Dreamwave. I have worked before for Warrior Wrestling. I just made my debut through Deadlock Pro Wrestling a week and a half ago. They're one of the bigger indie promotions in the whole country right now.
Yeah.
I got to work with them and they loved my work and they asked for me to come back at some point. And I'm trying to make that happen. And it's just, and I worked Bound for Glory for TNA last year. I did extra work for them. I went out to Las Vegas to help do extra work again in January, and I just did the TV tapings and Against All Odds here at Cicero Stadium again a few weeks ago. I mentioned I've done NWA, I've done MLW, I've done extra work for them as well, and it's a snowball. It's momentum, and I'm just trying to do everything I can to make this dream a reality. I've never had a moment in my life where a dream, not just this, but a dream is in reach. When I was a kid, being a baseball player was the dream, but there was never a point where it seemed like, oh, this could happen. It was always a far-fetched dream. Even going to school and wanting to be a teacher, that was a dream that I never thought was actually possible. It was a dream, but it never had the feeling of it's in reach. Never did. This, for the first time in my life, feels like there could be a legitimate shot at a dream being a reality. So I'm doing everything I can to make this dream a reality. And the dream is to be the best that there ever was when it comes to refereeing. And whether that's Mike Chioda, whether that's Scott Armstrong, Earl Hebner, whoever you think of is the best, I want to be as good, if not better. And for people to say, like, there goes Kevin Woods. That was the best that could ever do it. That's what I want.
You want to be the Bret Hart and CM Punk of the referee business.
You know what? Yes, but I take that from The Natural. Have you ever seen the movie The Natural?
I don't know a person on this podcast that probably hasn't. I know Red and I have seen it 100 times each.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
You have not, Cactus, you have not seen The Natural?
No, I have not.
That is your
Put it on your list.
Weekend.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. My dad showed me that movie when I was a teenager. And it was one of the very first movies where he made sure to tell me, like, this is not a high energy explosion type of movie. It's very slow. It can be very subtle. There's a lot of slow moving parts, and you've got to really pay attention to this movie to really feel it, to really get into it. Plus, it was a baseball movie, and I find anything with baseball great. But in that movie, Roy Hobbs was asked, so what do you want out of all of this? And he goes, when I walk down the street, I want people to say, there goes Roy Hobbs, the best to ever do it. Don't you want more? Well, what else is there? That's me. Call it cliche again, but that's what I generally strive for. Sure, money, fame, so to speak, that's all great. I take another quote from my grandfather, who's one of my heroes. My grandfather said for the longest time, I'm the richest man you will ever meet in your entire life, and it has nothing to do with money. It is because of my family that I have, my wife, my grandchildren, my kids, my great-grandchildren. Family is the most richest thing you can have. So I could have all the money and fame that a referee could get in this business. And honestly, that's cool, whatever. I have the love of my family and my friends to push me on, to strive me to do more. And that's what keeps me going, not disappointing them, making this dream a reality, and to be able to tell them, my dad too, I did it. I could do it, and I did it. That's what I'm trying to do.
That is amazingly inspirational. And from now on and forevermore, you will be known as WonderBoy Kevin Woods.
You know, I love that. Right before I finished playing baseball, I was on a summer team with my best friends. We were supposed to be on a summer team, and I got the best wood bat I could possibly afford because I loved playing with wood bats more than metal bats, in all honesty. And I got it, and I got a Sharpie and I did as cleanly as I could. I wrote down Mars Rover because that was my nickname all through high school. And I wrote just like he did on the bat for WonderBoy. I wrote down Mars Rover, and I never got to use it because we were waiting for the team to be officially announced, and here's a schedule, and we kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and it just never happened. So I never got to use the bat. It's still sitting somewhere, but I love that so much. I'll take the WonderBoy comparison. Absolutely.
Definitely. All right, Red. Why don't you give this boy some roses, and then we can talk about NWA Chicago.
Well, let's do NWA first. I mean,
Oh, Red's looking to string this out a little bit. He's thinking about Roy Hobbs right now because we know Red is the best in the
Who
world.
wouldn't? He destroyed those lights and everything was exploding around him. That's the greatest. That's one of the greatest movie shots in the history of cinema. Fight me. I don't care what anybody says.
It was really, really powerful film. That's for sure. We're gonna welcome PX to the show. PX, I just want you to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. We don't need any top fans bullshit right now. We're interviewing our guest. I will deal with you directly in a little bit.
There we go.
Good. He acknowledged me. I am the anyway, I'm not going down tribal liaison. NWA Chicago this Friday night, Highland Park. We return to Corrigan country. And oh, what a show it is going to be. The Wonderboy, Kevin Woods, will be there. Counted right down the middle, 1, 2, 3. But boy, man, you have got some superstar attractions in this ring, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. We're going to make our picks. So let's start with one of the matches. This might be the match I'm looking forward to the most. We've got the punk rock prince, Jordan Cross, debuting at NWA Chicago, taking on the intrepid NWA superstar known as Brian Idol. Now, it's well documented that I've become quite a fan of Brian Idol's. I think he is an extraordinary talent. I think he's got one of the brightest minds in the business. But Jordan Cross is one of ours. Jordan Cross is a super wrestler. I don't know if Brian Idol knows what he's getting in the ring with. So I'm going to take it to the panel. And I'm going to start with Cactus Rack. Cactus, it's Jordan Cross versus Brian Idol. What do you think?
Obviously, I'm going to go with Jordan Cross.
And tell me why.
Because how are you going to defeat the heir to Cross Turnia? Are you crazy?
That is the best point made thus far. Very well done indeed. C-Red. Jordan Cross, Brian Idol. Now, I know you're a guy that likes to toe the company line. I know you're NWA for reals. I know you're that guy. I've seen you up against the NWA backdrop doing this shit. I know who you are and what you are. Can Jordan Cross debut at NWA and take down one of the biggest NWA stars right now?
No.
Brian Idol for you, huh?
Brian Idol. Hey, the momentum that Brian has right now is like unparalleled. And I love my nephew Jordan, but I just think that wrong place, wrong time. Like I believe I know within the next 6 months, Brian Idol will hold some type of gold in NWA. I just see it, so
Red
it's
is
just that thing.
Red is just he's smoozing for that job. He wants that contract, and that's the way to go. Towing that company line. I love it. Kevin Woods, call it right down the middle. You know both of these guys. What do you think?
Is it a cop out if I say I'm unbiased and I don't have a pick?
It's a motherfucking cop out. You know you got to answer right. Now you can still call it right down the middle. I'm not asking you to cheat. I'm just saying, you know Jordan Cross, Brian Idol. Who wins this one?
That's a tough one because Red made up a good point. Brian Idol has a lot of momentum. He just recently signed an extension, if I'm not mistaken.
It?
He's on another level right now in the NWA that I don't think people really realize
Oh,
is
we realize
happening.
it.
He it's a, he has a huge momentum, but at the same time, Jordan's nuts. I think we've all seen the clip of him jumping off the top of that balcony onto the ring with I think Vic Capri and whoever else was in there. That dude is insane. So and you can't count out that ability to just be, I'm fucking doing this. See ya. You know, like it's hard to pick. I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm gonna take Jordan because Jordan I think has that little bit extra kick of I'm willing to do some insane shit that I don't think Brian is the ability to do, even with the momentum. No disrespect to Brian, but I think Jordan may have that little extra edge of I'm gonna jump off with something really high, and that's gonna be it.
My heart says the super wrestler, the heir to the super wrestlers, the punk rock prince Jordan Cross wins this match, but my head has to go with the incumbent, the Brian Idol. So as much as I would love to see Jordan pull the upset, it's your debut. You're fighting the guy that is the guy. If Jordan Cross wins this, this would be John Cena versus Kurt Angle shit. This would be some ruthless aggression. So, hey, and it's happening Friday night, and you get to see it. Podcast Papa, Top Fan PX. What do you think about this match? The top fans feed the steed. So I told him to shut the fuck up. So now he's just going to shut the fuck up. This is the first time in PX's life that he ever listened to a goddamn person. And it's me on this fucking podcast. He's listening to me.
I just blame it on me. Just blame it on me.
I don't know.
I think I'm the John.
He's right. They do feed the steed, and you know that's a good vote for Jordan Cross. Another match I'm really looking forward to is the women's triple threat. If you were at NWA Chicago last month, you saw Natalia Markova and Tiffany Nieves, La Princesa, whip each other's ass pillar to post. They took it outside the ring. They were
I roughed that match.
They laid down the way. They made you look like you had no control over anything because you had no control over anything.
Not a lot. I want to be honest. Not a lot. You get two badass women in there, and you try to tell them what to do, Steve. You try to tell them what to do.
I've done roller derby, so I'm repeatedly cowering down to badass women. So yeah, I know how you feel. Now you add Lily La Pescadita Ruiz, and you make this a triple threat. So you've got one of CSW's feature talents. Lily is on a roll. She's whipped Chris Miller's ass. She's riding high right now in one of the most stacked women's divisions in the Midwest. CSW has a strong women's division, unlike anybody else. And now she's coming to NWA, and she's been on NWA, and she's on a roll at NWA. So this match, I mean, Natalia just signed an extension. She's now officially NWA. Tiffany has been NWA, and now Lily is trying to make her name. Who wins this match, C-Red?
Again, it's all about momentum. And I've watched or tried to watch as much of the chaos that the women went through a few months ago. But God,
Come on, don't be Switzerland. Give us a hot take.
That caught me off guard. That was like
Red's trying to be all politically correct here.
oh my god.
And he's looking down at the picture going, I don't know, they're all pretty good.
they
Red,
and they are in their own right. But see, the problem is, a couple months ago, you just had two of them. And now you throw a third one in. That's a firecracker. And she has been building her name and her brand. I can't pick this. I can't.
Fuck out. He copped out.
If
can't.
I can't cop out, you can't cop out. Pick one.
Jesus.
I can't.
You coward.
I'm gonna be a coward. I'm gonna be a coward.
Oh, wow.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
I'm
I
gonna
am
be a
not going to
coward.
be a coward. I think Natalia Markova is one of the great athletes I've ever watched live. She is impressive.
She is.
Lily is an absolute firecracker of a performer, exciting in every movement she makes. But you can only pick one. And for me, you go get it, got it, bueno. I pick La Princesa because Tiffany Nieves is a bad bitch. She is
But Natalia is on a roll. I mean,
She
it's
is
the
bad.
momentum thing. It's the
She is
momentum thing.
bad.
Then make a pick.
I
Then
made the
make a
pick.
pick
I
then.
said,
No, not you. Red. Pick a pick then. He's like, it's momentum. Then make a pick.
All right, Natalia.
Yeah, see, there it is.
Red's all shy and shit. I love that. That's my favorite part.
We
So
told him
far.
out for it. That's why.
Kevin Hoods, who do you got? Be biased.
Oh,
Lily's one of
bad,
your
like-
contemporaries, but get it, got it, bueno. Got to watch out. She'll right hook you.
you talk about momentum. More momentum. Natalia, didn't she officially become a U.S. citizen? Is what I saw
Yes.
recently.
She's
Yes.
a citizen.
I don't know how, at least from someone from that point of this earth, if you could like become an American citizen officially for the first time, I don't know how more momentum you could get from that out of this situation. That on the other hand, you got Lily, powerlifter, loves her craft, does everything she can. Like she busts her ass
No
at
doubt.
that school to get better, to work on her craft. That is a tough one. I guess you know what? I'll go bias. I'll go Lily because I admittedly I haven't worked a whole lot with Natalia or Tiffany. I have worked with both of them, but not a whole lot. I've worked with Lily a lot. I've seen her at the school. I've literally seen her walk in day one, couldn't run the ropes, couldn't figure out how to pick somebody up for a power slam, couldn't go down for a drop down, couldn't do anything. And see how far she's come. I'm going with Lily. Sorry.
All
Biased
right,
opinion.
so we got one
Lily
for
it is.
Tiffany, one for Natalia, one for Lily. Cactus, you're going to have to be the deciding vote here.
And it's going to be get it, got it, bueno, because Tiffany is 100% a woman after my own heart. She is fucking pissed. And she doesn't care who knows it.
I was going to say that. That is 100% true. Cactus, she channels you or you channel her. I don't know which one it is.
I think we're on the same channel. We're on the same channel. We're on
all I know is I fucking fear them both. So that's why I'm picking. I never pick against Cactus, and I'm not picking against Tiffany. Pac-Man, are you playing on your Etch-a-Sketch? Do you got a pick here? We'll give Pat a little time to
What's it? Hold on.
I just saw.
I can't take this fucking guy anywhere. So now Pac-Man's got fucking jokes. Now he's got jokes. He actually got jokes. Oh, Pat, at the end of this.
That's funny.
Ooh, you're gonna rue. You're gonna rue that day. Well, we're glad to know that's Little Fish. So I guess he's picking Little Fish. So 2 votes.
Yeah.
2 votes for La Pescadita and Red standing on an island with Natalia Markova. But that's not a bad place to be, ask Brian Idle.
Right.
Right on.
Ready to say.
Let's get Red back involved because I feel like Red's gotten bored. I feel like Red's he's kind of phoning it in now. He's a little tired, had a long day. He's on his 3rd smokable object. So he's just trying to stay with us. So let's give Red something to talk about. Let's Bonnie rate Red. Let's talk about the match in which you got friends all over the place. We've got a tag team match that Oregon himself made at the end of the last NWA Chicago show. It is Mr. NWA, my best friend, Joe Alonzo, and the man that made fun of me in the ring because I wasn't holding the microphone straight in Daisy Kill, taking on the tag team of fraternity maven Charlie Adams and one Miles Mercer with none other than NWA superstar, wrestling icon, managerial legend, Hall of Famer, the one and only urban sensation C Red in their corner, handpicked by the smashingest of the Smashing Pumpkins. Red, tell me about this match.
I mean, the boss stated if Charlie or Miles pins him during the match, then one of them gets the opportunity again at the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship. And we are taking nothing away from Charlie. Nothing at all. Charlie is a
Most popular kid in Hyde Park ever.
He is. But we need this. We need this. So Miles Miles understands the assignment. It's a tag match. But understand we want that shot.
Did I hear that promo right? He didn't mention you?
Hey,
Kids.
right. What are you gonna do with it?
Some people's kids, man, I know.
What are you gonna do? So, but he understands the assignment. So you already know who I'm picking.
All right, so C-Red, of course, is picking Joe Alonzo and Daisy Kill.
Sure.
Okay. All right, Red's picking Miles and Charlie, no doubt about it. Kevin, how do you see this one playing out? I mean, Daisy Kill and Joe Alonzo live to cheat. That's all they do. They have a PhD in it, I'm pretty sure. How does Miles Mercer and Charlie Adams get their way out of this and get their opportunity? I mean, we know Miles has a propensity for cheating, so Miles can go with the best of them. What do you see here?
Let me say this. Daisy Kill, besides Steve Boz and Doug Simmons, Daisy Kill was one of those guys that put me under his wing when I was a wrestler and taught me this business inside and out as much as he could. So going into this match, I know Daisy is a huge threat that I think not a lot of people truly understand. I think a lot of people see, oh, he's the guy with the ukulele, he's funny, hot. No, this dude knows his shit. This dude's a killer. This guy knows what he's doing. There's a reason he's there. But at the same time, you got Mr. Highland Park himself, Charlie Adams, who again, we bring up this momentum. Momentum has been this whole thing when talking about these picks. That when that dude, he has his whole fraternity brothers all there. There's nothing that can take over you more than that surge of adrenaline of a whole crowd just cheering you on and flipping off your opponents when they're looking at you.
You remember when that match with Natalia and Nieves happened? Do you remember how shy and coy the fraternity brothers got when they wrestled in that area?
Oh, yeah.
That was hysterical.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, make your pick.
It's hard. I gotta go with Daisy and Joe. I think they just got too much of an edge. I think Charlie's still growing into this business. He's still very young, very green, and he's got a lot of raw potential. I think he can be a future champion, not just in NWA, but anyway.
Red's gone now because
that's a him problem. You told me to pick my choice and be honest.
I did.
I'm picking my choice. That's a him problem. Prove me wrong. I'll be the official, maybe, and maybe I'll count the three for them. That's up to them. I'm just telling you who I think would win. That's a him problem if he doesn't like it.
That's fair.
I think Joe, as the junior heavyweight champion, and Daisy Kill, who helped train me, I know how badass those guys can be. So I'm picking Joe and Daisy. Sorry.
I got you.
Do he not know who the master of chicanery is?
Do you not know who the master of the ukulele is? A Daisy Kill?
I've got way more years of chicanery than Daisy does.
Chicanery.
Cool. Go
Red's
out and
making
win
up
that.
new words over there and shit.
Like I said, I'm not trying to distill you in anything, but I'm just saying, prove me wrong. I see it as Joe and Daisy.
All right, Cactus, what do you see?
I am going to say, as someone who A, has clotheslined Miles Mercer to hell,
Yes.
and B, has seen how quickly Joe Alonzo is distracted by taunts from preteen girls. I'm going to say that it's going to be Miles Mercer and Charlie Adams, because
You know what? I didn't think about that point when I made that pick. That is a very that's a very good point. He gets distracted very easily.
And Joe, I'm if you're listening, if you're watching, Lethally Blonde of the Chicago Knockouts is ready for that fight.
She is. Don't
all
fuck with
12 years of her.
Don't fuck with Lethally Blonde. Do not do it. Lunala and Lethally Blonde. That's Twisted Sisters Volume 2. That's real. That's some real shit right there.
At least Hazel gets to be someone's sister. I don't. But anyways,
that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
That's good. We're gonna need a therapist in here for that one, but that's neither here nor there. I think this match is the perfect showcase for Miles and Charlie to show the world how talented they are. But there is no way in the world Joe Alonzo loses this match after being called out by Billy Corrigan. Daisy Kill and Joe Alonzo are the perfect combination of people that will plan this situation to a T, and as shenanigan ready as C-Red has always been. And this is no disrespect to the evil intentions that you have brought to the table, C-Red. You can only do so much as that guy outside the ring. They're coming in with a plan for Miles, a plan for Charlie, and very likely a plan for you. Sleep well, son. Alonzo and Daisy Kill win this match.
Really? Come on now.
I love
You
Miles.
can't be mad at me now. You can't only be mad
it,
at me.
And I get it, but
Steven, you are a silly man.
You can never plan for me.
Fair.
Do you forget I also have other friends that will be there?
Let's talk about those other friends.
Yeah, tell me about those other friends that might get involved in this match, Red.
I don't know if they're going to get involved in this match, but they certainly. Kevin's looking for your friends. Kevin just said you ain't got no friends.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't have no friends. I'm just saying if they get involved, you guys are going to be quicker out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell him now, he knows what to look for. So
yeah, I know what to look for. Like, hey, they want
it.
good coin. Get out.
He just said he wets the bed for one of them. So come on now.
All right, let's talk.
Kevin really needs to know his history.
Wow. Ooh. Well, now it's starting to get a little chippy in the room. Let's move on.
Let's move on before we start throwing fists here. I'm just.
We're gonna throw.
I was told to make an unbiased pick, and I did, and I'm getting heat for it. I don't know what this place is now. So tell me what we're doing here.
It's shameful. You deserve.
I tried to be the nice referee and be like, I'm unbiased. I don't make a pick.
Turtle taught him well. Turtle taught him motherfucking well.
I told you he taught me. I took some lessons. Turtle taught me.
Is Turtle.
Also,
what? No, what are you trying to say? What's wrong with Turtle?
That wasn't me. I'm not getting it.
It's Turtle.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. All right, let's
forget about a match between me and Turtle. Now we have a match with Turtle and Red. Now I would.
That could happen. That IPW on any given Sunday.
Before.
It has
happened. Good. Let's do it again. I'd love to rep it. I'll do it for free.
Ooh, they love the free word. They love that shit. All right. Making their debut at NWA is a team we are very familiar with at CSW. Big Mood Swing is what they're calling themselves here. Of course, that is the one and only Mr. Infinity and Owen Jack Moody and his tag team partner, the fat femme Asian sensation, Mateo Valentine. They've drawn the short straw to take on one of the most charismatic, one of the longest tenured tag teams working in the area right now. That is, of course, C-Red's buddies, Marche Rocket, Acid Jazz. They are the Soul Touchers, not touchers. Touchers.
Right. Get it right, NWA.
Red. I mean, I'm not even going to ask you. There's no reason to ask.
Right. Don't even
I don't
ask
either.
me. Like, y'all past me.
Red's not picking against the Soul Touchers, and I'm not picking against the Soul Touchers either. I know Moody and Mateo come in with a bit of an attitude these days because they have been running in the shadow of Sierra and Joey Avalon for a minute. But, it's, rarefied air at NWA, and Marche and Jazz at NWA. If you think they're crazy in the past, this is a whole new incarnation and a whole new kettle of fish. So Soul Touches for me. Kevin, just say Soul Touches and we'll move on.
Well, hold on. We got to hear both sides because, like you had mentioned. No, hold on. No, don't give me that look, Red. Let me hear me out. You gotta take both sides of this and realize, like you said, big mood swing. They had an attitude shift. They felt like they hit a standstill with where they were before, even as former tag team champions. They flipped that switch, and they are deadly right now. They are not taking any prisoners. They are first shot, first call. Like that, they're just taking everybody out. So for this, they have a lot of momentum. But at the same time, you talk about the Soul Touchers, and you talk about Jazz, and you talk about the M80 with Marche. If Marche hits that M80, it's done. It's simple as that. This one is, in fairness to both teams, this is a toss-up because you kind of got both teams that have really, really good wrestling on their sides. So for that, I will take Jazz and Marche. I think if Marche hits that M80, that's it. But I do think it's a toss-up.
Kevin Wood's Google Maps fucked him up. He took the long way here. Red and I have been here for a while.
Okay.
I've been here. No, I've been here from jump. Remember.
Listen. It's almost impossible for me to just pick one like that. Because I used to do my own podcast, so I used to do all this stuff when it came to sports and professional wrestling. I take both sides and I look at both sides. You have to, even if I knew I was going to pick the Soul Touchers for this, but you have to give the dues to the other team or the other opponent of any match because there's a reason they're there. You can't just like, oh, it's Soul Touchers, and that totally discredits Big Mood Swing, and that's unfair to them.
I respect it, but I will counter with one word. Nah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Top fans thought Jack Moody was Damian Satan for a second, but yeah, Marche. So that's a pretty good one. We like that.
I love that.
I can't wait to tell Jack Moody that they thought he was Damian Saint. That's hilarious unto itself. Cactus.
On Damian Saint's birthday.
On Damian Saint. Happy birthday, Damian Saint.
Happy birthday.
Rick.
As much as I have a soft spot for Big Mood Swing, I'm a big Mateo Valentine fan. I know in my heart that when you're in a tag team, experience is generally the name of the game. It matters how long you've been working with your partner. It matters how well you know your partner. And I just think Soul Touches has way too much more experience in this scenario.
I'm with you 100%.
I'm not looking forward to seeing Mateo now on Friday here and that because I know he's gonna let me have it. He's gonna let me have it. He's not gonna let any of you have it. He's gonna let me have it.
Well, luckily I'm having surgery Friday, so I don't have to be there.
Good. Yeah, good for you, I guess. Then
this will be the first NWA Chicago that will not have knockout representation. You will be missed, and we thank you so much for being there for the first two shows. It meant the world to me, I'll tell you that.
Oh, not just Dave.
What?
Not just Dave.
Not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me anyway.
Huh?
Yeah.
Dave isn't the same.
Dave?
Judgment
Are they
Dave.
coming?
You,
Are they coming?
no. You had your nice little roast on Saturday
Yes.
where you acted like Dave's the only fucking person that showed up for you.
I did not. I said everybody did.
No.
Aw.
It meant so much to me, Dave, that you were there to support me at NWA.
He's getting called out. Oh,
We're gonna
Thank you
talk-
so much, Dave.
You're
Andrew,
gonna-
I don't understand your relationship. Yeah, Steven.
we are gonna-
Yeah, Steven.
We're gonna talk about this because the
Yeah,
whole
we
final
are.
segment
Moving on.
We're
It
gonna
sounds like there's a good thing there's a referee here because this sounds like these are
we're
fighting
gonna
words.
get back to Judgment Day.
These are fighting words. You are correct.
I've got a lot to say about that, so we'll get there in time. Let's talk about a couple of more matches before we send Kevin off with some roses from C-Red. It wouldn't be an NWA Chicago show unless we talked about the one, the only, the superstar, the B.O.Z. Steve Boz taking on Carson Drake. Steve Boz has been doing this a long time and has done it at every level. But right now, could this be the best version of Steve Boz that we've ever seen? I think that might be true. I think this might be the best BOZ that has ever been around. He is singularly focused. He has ascended the NWA ladder. He was actively wrestling in Knoxville at the joining of the territories. He was full on NWA down there, not just NWA Chicago. So NWA has seen something in this wily veteran, and there aren't many people that are more charismatic. You're in Chicago, so the crowd is going to be a very heavily Boz favored crowd. So when Boz comes out, the place explodes. And that's to be expected because Boz has owned Chicago for a long, long time. Now, at NWA Chicago, June 28th, he takes on Carson Drake. I'm not as familiar with Carson Drake as I wish I was, but I would have trouble picking against Steve Boz anytime. I'm sure Drake, being younger, is going to give him what for, but somehow the claps and the punches always seem to happen in the favor of Steve Boz. So I am picking the B to the O to the Z. Kevin Woods, what are you picking?
Admittedly, like you said, I'm not super familiar with Drake either. I spoke with him a handful of times. I don't think I've ever reffed a match of his, if I remember correctly. But I know he's got a lot of raw talent. I know he has a great physique. I know he is really good in the ring, and he's not somebody to take lightly. But admittedly, I don't know much about him. Who I do know a lot about is Boz. Boz trained me. Him and Doug Simmons are the two guys that basically trained me in everything that I do in this business, not just as a wrestler, as a referee, inside this business and out.
That's right, Uncle Doug. We blame you for Kevin Woods.
What did he blame? What is that a bad thing? Why am I being blamed here?
I'm just playing.
Pick
the boss. Yeah, sure. Pick the boss, Kevin Woods.
It's virtually impossible for me to not pick Boz in this because of him being my trainer. And like you said, I truly believe that this is another renaissance of Steve Boz. Like, he is in fantastic shape for his age, and he's just killing it as good as he's ever done it in his whole entire career.
He's fantastic for any age.
Honestly, I didn't mean that in any sort of bad way. He's been in this business for what, 30 years, 30 plus years. He got asked to come down by the NWA for Knoxville, Tennessee. They asked him to be there. That means something.
Yep.
Even at this stage in this career for him. So I think Boz got this. Boz has this. I don't know how I couldn't pick Boz.
Brett, I don't need to even talk to you, right? That's Boz. Boz for Red.
City for life.
Top fans have their hands above their heads, clapping in a rhythmic fashion. The other mouth-breathing fans are offbeat and ruining the moment. Boz for the win. So we believe that Pat likes the Boz. Cactus, are you going with the Boz here?
So, admittedly, the most I know about Steve Boz is that he seems to really like Rob Zombie. Um,
That he does.
It feels
And-
so good.
in my ventures out to NWA, I did feel like I don't want to say that something was missing. Like, I hear you all saying that like he's the best he's ever been. I don't want to say chip on his shoulder. It feels like there's an unfinished battle that's happening. And as long as he doesn't get distracted by it, it's going to be Steve Boz. And honestly, I don't know who this young whippersnapper is, but he's probably no match for Steve Boz anyway.
Ooh.
Well,
Now those are fighting words.
well done, Cactus Rack. Well done indeed. We'll talk about a few of the CSW guys. We've got Axel Rico taking on Mario Pardua. This is a main event match that happened once upon a time at CSW. Axel and Mario know each other so well. I'm so happy that both of them are going to be on this stage getting this kind of push because they both deserve it. Mario was managed at NWA by the urban sensation C Red. And Axel Rico is one of the great men in professional wrestling right now. I have a hard time picking this match. Polish Powerhouse, the Mayor of Puerto Rico, either one of them could win on any given night. Mario Pardua just had an opportunity at the NWA 10 pounds of gold, and he wants to go back there. But Axel Rico feels like he's got something to prove. And I think maybe the hunger of Axel Rico to claim his shot at that 10 pounds maybe knocks Mario off the mountain just a little bit. So I'm going begrudgingly with Axel Rico to win this match. Red, you're just picking Mario, ain't you? Yeah. We're on such the wavelength where I don't even need to have him talk. We're gonna let him save his pipe for the roses. Kevin Woods, in 5 words or less, pick one.
5 words or less? Oh, that's hard.
You already used up your bank.
I did. Damn it. God, this is very hard. Like you said, like both are.
All your friends. You got to pick against your friends.
I do gotta pick. Whichever one I don't pick is gonna come try to kick my ass. So maybe, hopefully not. God, this is a very tough one. You got, like I said, Polish Powerhouse, Mario Pardua, NWA has had an opportunity. I'm trying to be quick because I know I'll win all these answers. Has had an opportunity at the NWA title. Has had big matches with EC3 and so forth in the NWA. You got Axel, who came back from a collarbone tear and has former CSW heavyweight champion, running Proving Ground Chicago, was one of the mainstays in JWA up in Wisconsin. He has a real big chip on his shoulder from coming back from injury. My gut is telling me Axel. So I'm gonna go with Axel. I think Axel has a way big, a very English is hard, a very big chip on his shoulder from coming back from this major injury. I think Axel has something to prove, and I think that's gonna give him a little bit of the edge. I think Axel's got it.
Top fans like Axel, be they Rico or Curtis.
Good one.
Apparently, PX is drinking. That's fine. We don't mind that. Cactus, what do you got? Axel or Mario?
The most electrifying man in Poland.
So there's a vote for Mario Pardua. So we've got 2 for Mario and 3 for Axel. So it's a very split decision here on the Power Hour. Another match I want to talk about real quick is all CSW. It's CSW Future and CSW Present and Past. We've got the tag team of the Moondog, Greg Murray, my good friend Mooney, and that asshat son of a bitch women hater, Chris Miller, taking on the hottest young tag team that I think has one of the brightest futures in this business in Jack Valor and Eddie Grayson. I love those kids. I love what they did at CSW Academy Upstart on a very slick surface was very impressive.
Oh yeah.
Miller is a powerhouse and an asshole and very, very angry all the time. Moondog is a good-hearted, nice guy. I don't understand how they got paired together. So I think the combination of those two makes this a walk in the park for Grayson and Valor, despite their young age. I'm going with the two kids. Red, what about you?
I'm going against the grain. Take Miller
What?
and that Mad Dog.
Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I'm gonna pull Red. Shit. Come on.
Hey, you asked. I
I
told
did.
you.
All right, 5 words or less, Woodsy.
Not happening. Like you mentioned before about Moondog, about me being a nice guy. He is a nice guy, but you know, and I know, and everyone knows, he can get down and dirty in that ring.
Oh,
he
absolutely.
he can bust some people up if he really wanted to in that ring. He's not anybody
he's
to
gonna
take
bust up Miller.
light. That's a fair point. But even that's still to the same point. But you have Chris Miller again, powerhouse. Nobody likes, and he doesn't care, and he just goes. He has one thing in mind, and that is to beat people's asses and go home. That and drink beer. That is it.
And beat up
And
women.
then that too. I wasn't going to mention that, but that too.
Uh-huh.
I think you beat me to the punch with that.
I hope Nieves and Markova find out, because then that motherfucker's in some trouble.
I would love to watch that happen. But I, like you mentioned before, I love Jack Fowler and Eddie Grayson. Jack Fowler just graduated high school, and Eddie Grayson is about to go into his senior year of high school. Like these are young kids, and they love this business. They've been fans of it ever since they could remember, and they take this shit very seriously. They're not just in there to play wrestler; they're there to make a name for themselves. And at 17 or 16 and 18 years old, respectively, to both of them, they're fighting on NWA at that young of age. That's saying something. Whether they win or lose, that's saying something to the both of them, and I'm beyond proud of both of them. I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna say Jack and Eddie, because with the obviously the experience level of Chris and Moondog being there, the power that both of them possess, I think these kids are I think it's just going to be their night. I think they're going to take all the odds that are stacked against them, and they're going to pull a miracle out. Maybe not a miracle. I don't know if that's a good phrase to say, but they're gonna pull a shocker out
Upset
of
special.
this match. Upset special. I think that's a good phrase to say it. I think the young kids get it done.
Get it done. To John Cena's theme, Chris Miller sucks. Yeah, and he does. We all know. Cactus, what say you?
Unfortunately, the second I looked at Eddie Grayson and Jack Valor, I had a flashback to MySpace's emo phase. So I fortunately cannot take them seriously right now. I'm gonna have to go with the Moondog and Chris Miller. I was gonna go with the Moondog anyway.
I'm trying to get Chris Miller to come out to a knockout spout and try to throw his weight around.
He'd get his ass whooped so fucking badly by the minor league alone.
Oh my God.
So, don't think that's a good idea, Chris. Don't come stomping around my turf.
No, that's a great idea. That's good television. What are you talking about?
Okay, fair enough. Come on down, Chris.
All right, so that is the CSW connection to NWA Chicago. There are some other matches happening as well. Kobe Carter, Magic Jake, and Rafael Quintero, another CSW guy. I love Magic Jake. Kobe Carter is a badass, but the diamond in the rough is the diamond in the rough. I'm going with him. Red, you like Rafael Quintero, right?
Yeah.
And you think he can beat the Magic Man, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Woods, 3 words or less.
Diamond in the rough.
There we go. I set you perfectly. You're well done. You spiked that shit.
I'm trying to give you content, and there's like 3 words or less. Oh shit. Okay. Diamond in the rough. There you go. You happy now?
I'm happy. Very happy. Cactus, what do you say?
Quintero.
And I think if I know PX, he's gonna say he likes the diamonds on the soles of her shoes or some shit. So he's picking Quintero too.
Lucy in the sky with diamonds in the rough.
That's right. Diamonds in the rough. The other match happening is Jason Kill versus Kenny Sutra. I am not typically familiar with these two. I have heard of Kenny Sutra. I hear Jason Kill is a bad motherfucker, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. I can't pick it because I don't know him, but after tonight or after Friday night, I will know them. And there's got to be a reason they're at NWA Chicago. So that's your card right there. Who knows what kind of special activities will happen? Billy Corgan always has something in his belt. And by the way, did you see that crowd Smashing Pumpkins was playing to that he posted on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
It
Yes.
looked like there were 45,000 people. The Pumpkins
And-
still fucking rocking it out.
They are.
this-
When I got the very first opportunity with the NWA, I told my dad, like, I'm gonna have an opportunity with the NWA. They're one of the biggest promotions in the world, longevity, it's been around for a long time, all this stuff. And my dad's not really into all this stuff. Like oh, that stuff, that wrestling with Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. Yeah, that stuff. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. But the second I mentioned, oh, yeah, Billy Corgan owns it. He does. My dad grew up around Billy Corgan. He knew people that knew Billy Corgan when they were growing up because he's from here. He's from around here.
Yep.
And he would hear when he was a teenager all the time about, Billy's band. They're doing this random gig here on Billy's band. So he knew about them before they were officially the Smashing Pumpkins, before they had any sort of deal, before they were anybody of anybody. So when I told him that Billy Corgan is running the NWA, he instantly became a fan and wanted to come see and wanted to know everything about the NWA because it's Billy Corgan. And, my dad's been in rock and roll bands since he was 12, 13 years old. So he has that connection with Billy as well.
I'm not even touching that one, PX. I don't know what it means. I don't want to know what it means. All I can say is, as far as Smashing Pumpkins go, if you need a little education there, look up Smashing Pumpkins live at the Metro 1993. You'll be glad you did. All right. Red, I'm not reading Pax's little words there, but I think it's time to give young man some roses because we've kept Kevin way over the time we usually keep the guests.
Hey, I love being here. You can keep me here as long as you want. I love doing this stuff.
Actually, Rachel or Cactus Rack and I might need a referee when we go into the Judgment Dave roast segment, so maybe we will keep you on until the end tonight.
Honestly,
we might need a referee even before that because you were feeling very competitive with me Saturday night, and I did nothing to you.
Competitive. Okay, let's let Red do the roses first. Then
let's get to the roses.
We'll start out the
before
Judgment
we
Day
start brawling.
fiasco.
I don't know if he has roses for me for earlier when he turned his
Listen,
screen
for
off.
the record, I was one of the most accurate penis throwers of the evening. Just for the record.
Woo! All right.
I don't know how we could segue out of that.
There's always a segue.
There's always here.
Anyway,
I don't know about that, but I'd love to
let's
see
just
you
say
try.
it's always a good time at Rabid Brewing.
Always.
All I can say, Kevin, sitting back and hearing your story, kind of it tugged at me a little bit because you get it. There are a lot of, and it doesn't matter whether you are a wrestler, referee, whatever capacity people serve. A lot of people don't get, and we use the term paying your dues, and I've been around long enough to know. I've seen people come in this business and, they feel at a certain point they don't have to put that grind on anymore. They expect people to know who they are. And I think that's where a lot of people lose their edge. And the reason why they don't make it. But to hear that, you got off work and then you made the drive and you paid for a hotel room out of your pocket. And then you went early and you helped out. And you sold merch. That made you more valuable than just a referee. So that worth ethic, that there we go, has shown that regardless whether it's NWA or CSW, that you are a value. You're more than just a referee, because referees are a dime a dozen. Again, I've been in this business where, hey, we don't have a referee. All right, hey rookie, throw this shirt on and ref this match. Because the ref is running late or the ref ain't show up, so you're gonna have to ref the show. So I love that about you, that you are still willing to go out and make sacrifices of your own, and you understand that you're gonna, most people don't grasp the concept when they start in this business. You're gonna lose money way more than you make money. And you did it being single. I did it being married with kids, and would have to hear the bite back behind it. So it's not pretty. Now, yeah, that's if you don't know the history of the Soul Touchers, Google us. I will say that we run deep in these streets. But I will say, I love your passion, because I too started out as a wrestler, and then I realized, for me personally, I can make more money talking than I can wrestling. My mouth is my gold piece. So I pray, because you are deserving of every opportunity that you get, whether it's local, whether it is East Coast, West Coast, national. You deserve it, because you get it. That it takes a team to pull a show off, and not just you stay in your lane, and you get it. So once you get it, I think that makes you more valuable, but also makes you more successful. So on behalf of Steve, myself, Rachel, and we ain't even gonna count him because he tripping tonight.
Right. I'm gonna trip him.
We we wish you much success, because we believe in you, and we hope and pray that the next time you come on, you'll have a little logo, I'll put it like that, on your shirt, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, if he has a logo on his shirt, we're gonna have to pay him to do this.
I won't say no to that.
Not necessarily.
I truly appreciate all those kind words. It's hard for me to accept. It's very hard for me right now to say, like, I'm just another ref. it's very easy for me to say that. And that's kind of how I've always been. I'm very Italian in a way of I don't accept the nice things say, I give them back out. That's just, and I'm not trying to be mean of any kind. That's just kind of how I am. And I want to bring up the point that you brought up while you were talking about referees kind of a dime a dozen. And they are, in a sense, and no disrespect to wrestlers and other referees, so to speak. And I wanted to bring this up because this is what I hold true a lot to what I try to do as a referee. My dad, who is my hero by far, my dad taught me when I was younger, and he brought it in a baseball sense, and I bring it to the wrestling sense too, still to this day. When I was playing baseball, he instilled in me that you're more valuable as a player when you can be really good at something that's not very common in a baseball sense. Everybody wants to be the shortstop. Everybody wants to be the center fielder. Everybody wants to be the starting pitcher, the ace of the pitching staff. Like everybody wants to be that. Nobody wants to be the left fielder. That was my position. I wanted to be the best goddamn left fielder that there could be because that was my spot. And I feel like that's true in a sense in that of left fielders, second baseman, even catchers to an extent in baseball. Not everybody wants to be them, but if you're really good at them, there's not many real good ones out there. And when it comes to professional wrestling, and again, I don't mean any sort of disrespect to other wrestlers, anybody else out there. There's a million fantastic, phenomenal professional wrestlers out there in every company out there. There's only so many really, really good referees. So for me, if I can be the best referee that I could possibly can be, I personally feel like I'm more valuable to other companies, other promotions out there than to the other wrestlers because there's a million phenomenal wrestlers all around the world, but there's only so many phenomenal referees around the world. If that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, my friend. Well said indeed. I need to back the train up just for a minute.
Oh boy.
I have something has come to my attention that I blew through, and now I'm going to reverse the train and go back and talk about it. Because I feel like
I will be leaving this show. I will leave.
Now I want to know what he was trying to say.
I don't want to be accused of not giving you.
I will leave. I will leave.
Okay. All right.
I won't. I want to hear this.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna put the train back in drive. And
yeah.
She's all jacked up now anyway. Let's talk about Judgment Dave's roast on Saturday night.
No. Let's not even start with the roast. Let's go. Let's start from the very beginning.
Okay. Tell me.
You tell me.
What do you
you start? You said let's start there, so you started.
I was going to talk about Judgment Dave's roast. Are you talking about the Too Hot to Handle bout?
No.
What are you talking about then?
I'm talking about the penis throwing.
Oh, the penis throwing. Yes, of course. All right, that's the Judgment Dave. Well, the roast was one part of it. It was the Judgment Dave party. It was head referee of roller derby, I guess you could call him. So it's a referee oriented discussion. So Kevin, you should feel right at home here. Judgment Dave had a birthday, and they celebrated by roasting him and having a pagan-esque party at Rabid Brewing, and Rabid Brewing does many a pagan thing. So there was keg tossing, and there were swords on fire, and there was shenanigans for hours and hours, and the stiffest drinks I've ever had to consume.
I was obliterated pretty quickly, even for me.
That Judgment Dave double penetration drink with the bourbon.
Can we crap? I need to
wait a minute. Wait.
Yeah.
Fuck me up.
That's not the name he gave it.
That is the name. That was the name of the drink for his birthday. Yes.
I got double penetrated. All right. That was some shit.
I mean,
Felt that the next
whatever
day.
whatever
Felt that
gets you
today.
through the night, Steve. Whatever gets you through the night,
I
Mr.
wish
GM.
that we've been able to get photos up of it, but there were cutouts of Dave's face in the toilet, like literally in the toilets, in the urinals, peeking out from behind the bar. It is actually really funny though. So you know how that one wall someone wrote, I think it was Andrew actually wrote "fuck Dave" all over it.
Yes, he did.
So at D&D, they have kids D&D the next day, and one of the kids walks out and goes, "Who's Dave and why does everybody hate him so much?" And Dave is standing right there. So yeah.
That's the kind of ship Tobias runs at Rabbit.
Yeah.
It's organized chaos to say the least. You've played bags before, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the sword throwing before, right?
I've never done it, but yes.
Not axe throwing. I'm
Yeah.
getting my swords and axes mixed up. So
I knew what you meant, but I've never done it, but yes.
Yeah. So one of the featured events was dildo throwing.
Okay.
And one of them, one of the dildos thrown was featured at Super Wrestlers.
It was one of Muggsy James's the space pirate, the porch pirate, Muggsy James. It was the one of the dildos that they used in the sword fight at Super Wrestlers at Concord Music Hall a few shows ago.
So it was kind of like throwing swords.
Yes, but it was blue.
In a way, yeah.
It was very blue
Okay.
and very thick. But that's neither here nor there.
Steven.
So I had 2 throws and I hit the bullseye on the second one. So I didn't have to do it anymore. Other people were just, their shit was all over the damn place. And it was so fun. Everybody was having such a lovely time throwing the dicks all over the place. So it was splendid fun on a beautiful summer's evening at Rabbit Brook. Then it went to keg tossing, which I did not partake in because I have some things that are coming up that I need to do physically, like Sunday, which we'll talk about in a few minutes.
And Mommy Fearist talked some sense into me because I was getting ready to toss the keg, and she's like, "Didn't you just have an outpatient surgery on your back? Aren't you about to have another surgery on your back?" And I was like, "Yes."
And we love Mommy
and then I
Fearist
still tried to go throw it, and she was like, "No."
You did. You were not having any of that bullshit. You were doing everything. You would not have known you had a surgical procedure the way you carried on that evening.
And in the shoes I carried on in.
Yeah, she was wearing these shoes that reminded me of Gene Simmons' Kiss boots.
I still wasn't taller than Andrew, and I was very annoyed.
Very thick heels, very thick.
So I went from being 5'10" to being 6'3", barely.
It was pretty impressive, though. The drinks were all named for Dave, and we had a great many of the drinks. There were cupcakes with Dave's picture on them, so we ate Dave's face.
No, it was not a picture. It was an actual icing rendition of Dave's face.
Yes. So they were delicious and they were enjoyed by many. Dave's face was enjoyed by many humans on that particular evening. And it was a great turnout. And it was one of the first times I've ever gotten to interact with the Knockouts in a more social setting than a roller derby setting. And I got to talk and see some of their interests other than beating the shit out of each other. And they're adorable and fun and very high spirited. It was a great time. If you ever get to go to a party like this, you should definitely go because they are the masters of fun and they do it like no other.
Feast of the Goat Queen.
The Goat Queen is coming up. I will be in Wisconsin at that time, but that will be isn't that the debut of Rabid Wrestling?
Yes, it is, and we need refs. Just saying.
Kevin Woods, will you come to the debut show of Rabid Wrestling Entertainment and be the lead ref for the first show? You could make history, and then you could sacrifice yourself to the Goat Queen.
What date is it?
It's July 27th.
I gotta look at my calendar, but I will let you guys know.
Get in touch with Hot Rod Daddy Andy, or let me know, and I'll get in touch.
I'll have him get in touch with you.
Yeah, talk to you. Andy will call you. Andy's good like that. Andy's in charge. So then it was roast time, and we had some roasters, We had some fun. And then we went outside and we watched the fiery swords and the shenanigans out there, and then we went home. It was a hell
Oh,
of
are
an
you skipping right over the roast?
I'm not exactly sure where you're going to go with this, so I'm not entirely
I want to
comfortable
know
talking
where you're
about
going with this.
Why don't I let you lead the roast? You say what
No,
you
I
think.
want you to lead. I want
Okay.
you to lead, Steven.
I did not have the best roast of
It's
the
your world. We're just living in it.
Oh no, that we know that that's wrong. Rion
Uh,
Skills, our tribal liaison, seemingly won the roast with the best presentation. And
He did, and he did it all with a. So okay, you do have to share that your gift to Dave was a giant pack of disposable adult diapers.
Well, with that double penetration drink, I thought
Yes.
he'd need them by the end of the night.
So Rion did
Wow.
it's actually Rion's profile picture right now. Rion did the entire roast wearing one of the disposable diapers on his head.
He did.
But he didn't roast. He just gave a very nice speech.
He did. It was lovely. Goat gave a very nice speech. Mommy Fearest also did. And then Knockout Scar came up and did her thing.
And you did too.
I did.
You did too.
It wasn't so much a roast as I was telling stories like I do.
No, because you only roasted me.
I did not roast you.
You little fucking
You
bitch.
misunderstood the point of the fucking roast. And then
did I misunderstand? Did I misunderstand what, Andrew? I don't understand your relationship.
Should I get my ref shirt right now?
You
Like, holy
should.
cow.
You should.
The comment that preempted that statement was that Dave outkicked his coverage by ending up with Eurothrash, Renee, because she is a Bond villainess and a pinup girl all in one. And Dave's,
and what am I, a fucking potato?
No, I said Dave.
I love how Red left again.
I was referring to Andy also out kicking his coverage. I was celebrating you. I was not ripping.
Were you?
100%.
Because this sounds like bullshit, Steven.
That
Say
is
it
not
with your whole
bullshit.
chest.
What
Say
was
it with your whole
bullshit?
You know what
chest.
this sounds
If
like?
you
This
look-
sounds like a therapy
You
session
left.
that needs
You
to be
ran
resolved.
out.
That's
And you
what
didn't
this
even give me a
sounds
chance to explain.
I left 2 speeches later. You were sitting across from me the whole time.
And I couldn't believe you were angry because I was celebrating you. I wasn't ripping on you at all.
Really? Because you were so sure you were roasting me prior to it. You're like, wait till you hear what I have to say about you.
I was going to talk about our adversarial relationship at the Too Hot to Handle show. But
and then did you decide not to because you apparently defeated me in penis tossing?
I did not say that part of the speech. There were some things I omitted based on crowd reaction. And after you misconstrued statement 1, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to that well twice. So I was the smarter of the two.
You were scared. You were scared.
100%. 100%. I'm ready to admit it right here. I was frightened. I'm like, fuck, that got taken completely wrong, and I'm gonna pay for it forever. I was telling
you are. And because you're gonna pay for it forever because you're never gonna clarify the statement beyond that's not what I meant.
I just told you what the statement was. I just said it. I said
you just said you took it wrong, and that's all you've told me. But moving on, I left because for some reason people trust me with their children, and I had several children sleeping over at my house that I had to get back to before they tore my house down.
I think Top Fan just put out the most perfect photo to capture what has been happening right now. I think that's
tell you.
Yeah, but who's mom, who's dad? Let us know.
I have no idea.
Because I think I'm dad.
We don't support gender on this show. We're all people. Red will tell you today. I was like, all right, Red, I'll see you tonight. Please make sure you're there because I'm not sure Rachel's coming on tonight because I think she's mad at me. Red will tell you I said that. I was prepared for the worst. I thought I was going to get my ass kicked.
That is correct.
And you at no point thought to reach out to me and say, Hey,
I was scared
friend.
to death. I'm like,
Hey,
oh God, if I do
pal.
this, she's gonna
Let's
yell at me.
talk.
I'm not
You
gonna
live
like
10
it.
minutes from me. You couldn't drive to my house?
I was afraid. I'm not going to lie. I was afraid that it would go bad, and I didn't want it to. And I was. I'm an innocent man. I'm like Billy Joel in '83. I'm an innocent man.
I think I should be charging you guys for this therapy session. I think we
You
resolved
can
a lot of
charge me.
problems.
You don't have
And I think I
charge
should guys should
me.
just send you guys my rate and just take the money.
I'll pay it.
Sure,
I'll pay
Steve.
it. We're glad you were here to keep everybody from killing each other. But like I
But
said,
all that being said, Rabid puts on a good party. Feast of the Goat Queen is August 27th with the not August, July. Jesus Christ. Can you tell I have not slept?
Yes.
July 27th is Feast of the Goat Queen, the debut of Rabid Wrestling Entertainment. Some familiar faces will be wrestling, but I'm not going to tell you who they are until photos have been released. And you may be able to throw a penis.
very popular at Rabid.
If I can make that happen, I think that'll be a first for me. I've done a lot
Yeah.
of weird things.
The
in
knockouts
professional
are a
wrestling.
lot of people's firsts.
Yeah, that she ain't whistling Dixie. That's for goddamn sure.
Oh, boy.
If you ever want a ref on wheels, let us know.
Just
Ref
stay
on
away from-
wheels.
Yes,
De-
our
Defi-
some of
define
our
ref on wheels.
referees have to wear skates to follow the jammer as they go around and make sure
That-
they're tracking the points correctly.
Just stay away from Like a Boss because she's got flaming swords. That is no lie. Flaming
Duly
swords.
noted.
You would-
Flaming swords.
He
Bad.
was samuraiing shit in the field with a flaming sword in the middle of a thunderstorm. I don't think I've ever seen anything more badass in my life. And then she gave the sword to Marley Quinn. And I'm like, I'm gonna go home now. I'm going home because what's gonna happen next is gonna be outside of my pay grade and rent district. And I ran home screaming like a child. I wanted no part of flaming swords. None.
I don't blame
Duly
you.
noted.
But the knockouts throw a hell of a party, and Renee really showed love for Dave, and you
Who's
got
Renee?
Eurothrash.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say names. That's I mean that's that is that
No, in Derby we go. So Derby is a bit different from wrestling in that we go by our work names on and off the track the majority of the time.
you kayfabe hard, girl. You kayfabe.
Yeah.
You kayfabe. All right, so it was a great time. Thanks to Tobias and to Mommy Fearist for just giving us a splendid evening of celebration for Dave.
Did you leave before the arm wrestling?
No, and Tobias fucked himself up.
I heard. Did you know that Like a Boss broke her arm wrestling in Austin, Texas?
I did not know it, but I'm not surprised by
But you're
it
not surprised, yeah.
at all. That she is Section 8 violent, is what she is. You know, when she got there and she came over to wish me a happy birthday because she had to leave early at the Too Hot to Handle thing, and she hugged me to the point where her fist went right in my cheek, and I think she tried to give me a black eye. So I don't think she was hugging so much as she wanted to take a cheap shot. So I'll remember that shit when she tries to beat Rian up again, and I have to get into my wrestling gear, and Rian and I tag team against a couple of knockouts. We'll fight. God damn it. We're gonna do it. All right. Before we go, this Sunday, a special 3:00. Is it 3:00 or 4:00, Red?
Doors open, from what I heard. Doors open at 3. Show is at 4.
All right, so doors open at 3, show is at 4. IPW returns to Richmond Park and the American Legion. And we have got quite a show this particular Sunday. The return of the show hosts, 2 of the biggest bastards on the planet. Former Idol Damian Gray and current Rocket Pro Wrestling champion, the Chicago Bear Hug, Steve Michaels, are hosting this thing. That's not good for business because they're both dicks. But we have some great matches, so I don't think they'll be able to ruin all of it. We've got Turtle versus Paragon. How do you see that happening, Red? For those who haven't seen Paragon,
A moment of silence for Turtle.
You should come out, Kevin, because your protege is going to die. Turtle,
My protege.
or no, your
I-
master, your sensei.
mentor.
I was gonna say, I
Sensei.
think it might be the
Mentor.
other way around because he has a lot of seniority over me
Yeah,
years
your
wise in this
sensei-
business.
Your sensei made a bad career choice. Now, he's been fighting top level talent for a while. So I'm not saying this to minimize what Turtle can do in the ring, but he has become the prey, and the hunter is coming to Richton Park. And they don't call him the most dangerous game for a reason. Paragon is a bad motherfucker. Straight up bad motherfucker.
And my nephew.
He is Jules from Pulp Fiction. Bad motherfucker written on his wallet. That's who he is. Turtle, I love you. Loved you for a long time. We've been through this shit together. But I hope you don't die. I hope you don't die. Paragon plays for keeps. That man threw me in a trunk for no reason.
That was a reason.
There was no reason. There ain't no reason to put a
Okay.
man in the trunk just because he made a mistake in pronouncing a name. But that's neither here nor there. We don't talk about that. So, Cactus, you're pretty sure that Turtle's gonna die, right?
No, I'm positive he's gonna die. I mean, Turtle, you are great. You always come out to the knockouts bouts. Unfortunately, I'm having surgery, so I cannot be there to support you or save your life. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
He might
Hey.
need life save. That would be great if your Cactus Rat comes in and that's to ward off the advances of Paragon to save Turtle. That would be great.
I will be so high as a kite on pain medication. I would just face plant.
When you face Paragon, that can only help. Another match that's happening is the son of C Red, D'Angelo Steele, taking on EJ Swanson. Red, you're picking Swanson, right?
Hell no. Because it's for the C3 Ultimate Wrestling Championship, which my son is the champ. So they, Rachel is by his side. So,
No, Rachel is by our side. That belt does not deserve that name.
Right. Hey, my
That
son
belt
says
does
this.
not deserve that name.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I can't argue with his choice of name for his belt. That's a great name, but I just don't know why it had to be my name.
He called her Rachel.
It's
Her name
very
is
confusing.
You better tell Andy to be careful because maybe he's trying to steal you.
I don't think so.
You never know. It's wrestling. Other matches that are happening. Boy, C-Red just got family all over the place. Miles Mercer is taking on Corey McHenry. Miles will be fresh off of the ass whipping at NWA, and Corey McHenry has been on the ride of a lifetime. I'm thinking McHenry beats Mercer.
Nah.
Cactus?
Wait, hold up.
She's checking the statistics.
Oh, this is so hard.
It's not that hard.
It's hard.
What was hard was throwing those dicks.
Oh, shut the fuck up. I can't choose here. I can't choose. I can't.
We won't make you choose. Dalton.
Thank you.
Joey Dalton is issued an open challenge. We have no idea who the fuck is going to accept that. And the League Royal, which is going to have.
Hey, Top Fan, or whatever you're calling yourself, can you make that font a little bigger?
He's just Pat's phoning in. We're going to talk about Pat in a minute. So we've got a lot of shit happening at IPW this Sunday. I wish Rion was here to comment on it, but he took tonight off because I'm sure he's saving lives somewhere or roasting someone better than I can. So Rion not here, but I'm sure Rion will have reactions next week when we talk about this show. Hex, put the pictures down and appear to us on this screen.
Put your pants on.
What the fuck is going on, Pac-Man? You're being called out by everybody. What are you doing?
Why do you look like you're badly cosplaying Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Wow.
Here's the thing. I'll answer Rachel's question first. I needed to change my appearance a little bit. I felt it needed to be spruced up. as far as why everybody's angry at me, one thing I know in life is people don't like to be told the truth. People don't like to be told the way it is. Last week, Lovely Intoxicated podcast, after Tony Gabagool failed to strip me of my LIM beer drinking championship, it still really irks me.
You seem irked.
I mean,
I think
he
even
pulled
Kevin
rank
Woods
on
thinks
me.
you're irked.
I'm staying out of this one.
He pulled rank on me, Steve. And you
People-
saw it.
If it means anything to
He
you,
did.
I haven't at all. If that means anything to you,
Kevin, I definitely appreciate you, and I've enjoyed sitting with you here tonight. I will say that.
appreciate it.
But Tony made me have another rematch with my brother in a 3-hour iron liver match. The rules basically are this. It's like an Iron Man match, but it goes 3 hours, and it's instead of fighting and things of that nature, it's beer. Whoever has the most beer falls at the end of the time is the winner of the match.
See,
Wow.
So I have that I have to think about as I'm trying to get ready to celebrate my birthday. But people don't like to be told the truth. And when they don't, they mess with people. And I am no longer someone that people can mess with. And people are going to learn to respect the LIM champion and respect the top fan.
Wow.
Okay.
That's call me impressed.
reactions?
Call me impressed. I don't think I would last too long of what you were doing. I've never had a drink before in my life, so I think I would be
Yeah, you'd be
one
out.
sip and
It
I'm
wouldn't
out.
take- It wouldn't take very long, that's for sure.
No,
I don't know.
would-
I used to drink with drag queens. Sorry, I just
Ramona Mirage.
Morona
Ramona.
Ramona.
Yeah.
I love Ramona. Hello, Ramona, if you're watching.
She's not watching, but hello anyway. PX, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you. The fourth mother box doesn't know what the hell's wrong with you. JFW clearly doesn't know what the fuck's wrong with you. I'm pretty sure the LIM doesn't know what's wrong with you. And we've got a season premiere coming up in September at Rocket Pro Wrestling. So you need to fix your shit, bro.
I will fix my shit when, as I said last week, there are many problems within the LIM. When those are fixed, I'll get my stuff fixed. But in the meantime, the top fan has to come out and try to make sure that we stay on the right path that we've been on ever since the Lovely Intoxicated Men formed. People may not see things the way I do, but I run the group. I lead the ship. I've seen where we've been. I see where we're at now. And I got to give some tough love because people have to at some point realize that my path with where we need to take the Lovely Intoxicated Men, they need to know that is the way to go.
God, this is so much like Dungeons and Dragons was back in the 80s. So much like Dungeons and Dragons. So much. Pax, I don't know who broke you. I don't know why you are broken, but we're going to look
Broken.
making up words. I don't know why you're broken, but we're going to find out as the summer goes on. And this is going to be the longest summer of my life.
I plan to make it a fun place and a much better place.
Okay, top fan. Next, we want to thank Kevin Woods for joining us tonight and being a great guest. I hope your friends and family that were waiting for this to be live forgave us and enjoy it nonetheless. Want to thank the Urban Sensation. Want to thank Cactus Rack. Want to thank Rion wherever he is. Not sure I want to thank you, Top Fan, but I would like to thank my friend Pac-Man, whatever you did with him. And to tell you all, next week on this show, we'll be celebrating 4th of July week with our very special guest. It's a family affair as D'Angelo Steele joins us on this program to talk about what went down this Sunday at IPW. So for the Power Hour, I'm Steve. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Kevin Woods. And we'll see you and see Red at NWA this Friday. And to all of you watching, have a great night. Thanks for watching and supporting. We'll see you down the road. Good night.